Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today is Jumpstart Day once again, so without further ado, let's jump on in and see what packs we've got. Okay, so we've had Tree Hugging before, but we have never had Devilish and Discarding. I am intrigued about the discarding side of things, because it's got Tiny Bones, or whatever his name is. The little cutie that I actually want to do a Historic Brawl deck on at some point. So if I could just get a free Mythic Wildcard out of it, I think I'd be happy. So let's go with discarding. We also don't pick black very often, and red in general is not particularly powerful, and I'm pretty sure Devilish is on the lower end of the not particularly powerful red options as well. And we've got well-read discarding, maybe. Ooh, there's Cats we've never picked. And in fact, Cats is the only one we haven't picked. And therefore, you know the rules. I've got to pick it. Otherwise, I would probably go with, I don't know, maybe well-read. Drawing and discarding seems like a good thing. I could also see discarding and dinosaurs not being the worst thing in the world as well. You kind of remove your opponent's answers to your big threats and then stomp them. That would definitely work, but I think we're going to go with Cats because we've never played Cats before, and there's a little bit of a control element as well with the with this particular cat right here being able to destroy artifacts and enchantments as well. So, yeah, we should be able to hopefully control the board easily enough. Discarding Cats, and this card I've never seen before. Number of creature cards in its controller's graveyard. It's not bad. It's not good in Constructed, but it's not bad in general. 2 white of Precinct 6. We did get Tiny Bones, Trinket Thief. Fantastic. So this is the card that I really wanted from the discarding side of things. 2 mana for a 1/2. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent discarded a card this turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life. And then for 6 mana, you can make your opponent essentially lose half their life total unless they're playing Doctor, which is pretty cool. So Tiny Bones, Trinket Thief, gonna absolutely run rampant. Fell Spectre, I believe, is also one of the very good cards in this deck as well. This one also punishes your opponent for discarding cards, making them lose life. And it does a thing when it enters, which is very powerful. Got Chupacabra as our removal. Discarding when you block. Crushing Canopy and Feline Sovereign for our artifact and enchantment removal. I'm not sure there's any cats in the... Ooh, we've even got Phyrexian Rager. Nice. Doesn't appear to be any cats in the black side of our deck, but that should be okay. I think this deck looks pretty reasonable, to be honest. Ooh, 6 mana, destroy a creature, discard a card's not bad. And yeah, if we basically run our opponent out of answers, we can enlarge without having to worry about our opponent having removal, perhaps. And yeah, okay, so this seems like a reasonable deck. I can't see it doing too badly. Yeah. No complaints, to be honest. If you do enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Let's get to the gameplay. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, we're in, and on the draw with a 3-2 with Flash, we've got some 1/1s. This is a reasonable enough curve, so we're going to keep this one. Just noticed we've got a little bit of an audible bug, so I do apologise for that, chat. Not a great deal I can do about it, though, unfortunately, until the next game. So hopefully the rest of the sound effects can drown it out, as well as my beautiful voice. Or, you know, just my voice, depending on your perspective, I suppose. Alright, so we've shown them the black land, and show them the other. I don't know if I really want to throw out Tiny Bones just yet, especially when they've got, I think this is Smashing as their particular choice. I think I'll wait until Tiny Bones has some discard payoff, so we can maybe start drawing some cards. If we get a Mind Rot or something like that, I'd be pretty happy. Just knowing I can play this into a follow-up would be nice. And they've got an Onaki Ogre, which we can trade off with the Pouncing Cheetah. And again, we don't really have to show our opponent that we're playing green just yet until we flash in with the Cheetah. So hopefully they play something pre-combat that we can feel comfortable about passing Cheetah Resolving, because they probably will have like Scorching Dragon Fire in that deck of theirs. But this actually will pump up our White of Precinct 6s, which is quite cool. Very much love this card, by the way. It's a soft spot for me personally. Ooh. Heartfire Immolator. I dare you to try and kill my white with that. I dare you. Let's see. We shall... I mean, these are all non-humans. We could just go Tiny Bones, White of Precinct 6, and then go wide, and that way, when Keeper of Fables comes into play, we might actually be able to draw a card off of that, which would be nice. I'm imagining Tiny Bones is already dead, though. And yeah, we're not swinging into a potential 3/3 Immolator. Sounds like a bad idea. Opponent reading the card in order to attempt to explain the card. And we'll see. I mean, not drawing any of our discard from our discard deck when we've got a pretty good discard opening hand is kind of a bit of a tilt. Gotta hope that we find a Mind Rot or something. Oh, magic gods. You are very kind to me. Discard 2 cards, please, opponent. This might force them into killing the Tiny Bones, since we'll have that end step trigger that they may not want us to have. If they do that, they're going to basically showcase that the Immolator can become much larger than it is. But since they actually got rid of a creature here, we've got some 3/3s to swing in with, so they're going to need a little bit more to pump that Immolator up. You don't have Menace or anything, nope. Sweet, and we get to draw a card and lose 1 life because our opponent discarded. The advantage is real. Game, set, match, Kira. Or is it? We're getting into those I have big, massive bomb areas. I don't think there's a great deal in Smashing and Legion. Oh, they've got the big giant, haven't they? And Itali. Itali is also a big threat. I'm thinking of, I think it's Hammerback Goliath or something like that. This is the card that comes to mind when I think of their top end. I don't know if you can get that and Itali in the same game, though. Alright, so we're going to pass, and what we're going to do is hope that our opponent just plays those 2 cards out, because if they ever go down to 0 cards, Tiny Bones can deal 10 damage to our opponent, so next turn we could potentially be swinging for lethal if they're not careful. Turret Ogre. Okay. Let's see. Control another creature with power 4 or greater, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Okay. And we actually got Choop, which is a solid pickup. Choop, kill Itali. That'll turn the whites into 4/4s, and then we can play the Feline Sovereign to make the Keeper of Fables a 5/6 as well. So it should be pretty safe to swing on through. If they sack the Immolator in response here, the whites are going to go up to 5/5, so it's maybe not necessarily a good idea for them to actually use that effect. Which just puts them in a really tough spot. Interesting. I would have gone after Tiny Bones myself. But opponent disagreed, and we're just going to go in for a big Hulk smash. We can actually get in with the Tiny Bones here, because if they block anything but our 5-powered creatures, they're going to lose, so yeah. Pretty good. Alright. Game 1 down. Not against the mightiest of card combinations, I wouldn't say. And oh, that noise has gone away. We got Sethron, Hurloon General. A card I wish was good. I actually looked into a Historic Brawl deck with this, and the Minotaurs just aren't there. Maybe when Armankek comes around, because Arncrop Crasher and things like that enter the format, So when we get Armenket remastered, I think there might be a fair few more Minotaurs that could maybe make this work. Obviously, Jumpstart got the Minotaur Lord as well that gives trample, which is kind of cool, but in general, I don't think Minotaurs are necessarily supported enough outside of a meme deck. I do have an idea for a meme deck with Saffron, though, so stay tuned for that. Alright, well, next game. Alrighty then, we're in, and this looks pretty similar to our last hand, which ended up being pretty decent, so I'm going to keep this one. And we'll see how we do. I mean, we can cover up the fact that we're playing cats for quite a long time as well. Our opponent, I think, is playing... that's the elves one, I believe. We're going to name green with our Thriving Maw. I think that's elves. Or it could be walls. I don't think it's walls, though. Or maybe it is. It's something goblins, at least. Goblin Instigator. Okay. This deals combat damage to a player, untap a creature or a land. Well, that won't be happening against the Goblin Armada, unfortunately. But it might just be a better pick than anything else, to be honest. We'll get it out there. And the off chance they swing with their 2, we might be able to swing for 3 easier. Yeah, I think that's elves. Opponents? Let me know. We'll find out soon enough, I guess, when we mind rot them. Alright, we're going to take the 2. We have a potential 3 to attack back with. At the worst case scenario, we're trading off our companion, which I don't think's all that bad. Yeah, it is elves. Okay. There's no way in a million years they're trading off an Archdruid. So, let's see. We'll go with... I think Feline Sovereign. Make a 4-2, and if it connects, then we actually get to untap the companion, and that's a good blocker for the goblins. I think I'd sooner wait on the Mind Rot a little while longer, so that the top quality, top-end cards stay in their hand. Because obviously they want to be playing their early game shenanigans as soon as possible. We're going to untap that. And then there's no trigger there to be had for Feline Sovereign. I'm surprised it even showed me it, to be honest. I mean, Elvish Archdruid is pretty much like their best card at this stage. They do have Craterhoof Behemoth, I believe, in there as well. So we want to be essentially at least taking that out of their hand, if not killing the Archdruid to stop them from ramping into it. And they have an outnumber, okay. And a Giripa guide? That's printed in Jumpstart? Huh. Interesting. Alright, so let's just eat that hand of theirs. We hit Crushing Canopy and Beetleback Chief. Actually some decent enough ones. And I think we're going to go with... That is a tough call. Do we do... We definitely do Death's Approach on the Archdruid, and if we put one non-token creature in the yard at some point, then the Archdruid just dies. Which should be pretty good for us. And that should sit happily on there for a long time, since we've seen their enchantment removal already been removed. We'll pass the turn. I mean, we're taking 4 from the Giripa guy. There's not really much we can do about that. But if that's a creature and they choose not to play it in order to do this, then we can Burglar at and kill the Archdruid, which is interesting. Okay, so Giripa Guide can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. I wasn't planning on blocking it. So this is totally fine. And let's just hope that that's a creature they can't cast in their hand now. Let's go for Burglar Rat and take it out of their hand. If they know we're playing against discarding as well, so they're not really incentivized to keep cards in their hand unless they're really combat tricks that they could use against us. So, you know, this is either an uncastable card or it's a combat trick that they were hoping to use against us at some point. And if it's a creature, the Archdruid goes, and then we get to swing in with our Sovereign, which is kind of nice. And that would put 2 creatures in the yard, making this a 3/3. Is this the... I'm very tilted. My best card just went in the trash. Ah, it was a mountain. That's fine. We don't really mind. We'll get them next time. We're just looking for a removal spell at this stage. Got a fair few of them in the deck. And, I mean, I can swing here. I think that's fine. They don't block. Alright. So we're still going to take another 4. We're looking essentially for... I mean, Enlarge is not bad. Chupacabra is something we'd be interested in. They drew another land. Assassin's Strike would be nice. I guess Tiny Bones at this stage as well is going to be pretty decent. We can definitely outrace a Girappa Guide at that rate. Keeper of Fables. Nice. So we get to draw a card. Let's just swing in with the lot. So we draw a card on the attack. We have a 5/6 back to block. Yep, we're happy with this. Interesting. Okay. Well, we drew. Got Feral Invocation. It's not bad. So now our opponent is on top decks and we are essentially not. We should be able to keep up with whatever our opponent's doing now. And that's already dead, because we've got our Feline Sovereign. So I guess that is a good game right there. Our opponent will try to block the Feline Sovereign, and we'll Invocation it in response. So let's just get in, get that pressure done. It's probably just going to be a block and sack. Which this is fine by me, if they want to slow roll it. I'm happy with that. They're on 4. I'm not forced into using my Invocation. I now force them to use the munitions because I dealt combat damage. Draw another White of Precinct 6. So we're just going to absolutely splurge all of our value onto the board here, and I don't see how our opponent can win from this point. Don't have nearly enough mana to create a hoof, and we've got the blockers for it anyway. Goblin Arsonist, and that is the game. 2-0. Nice. Seems like Cats and Discard is a pretty good combination. So what is our second rare? We got Scarecrow. Played against this one before. Confused me, I remember. 3 mana 1/2. You can sacrifice a Scarecrow to draw a card, and then you can pay 4 and tap it to return an artifact creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I misread it and just assumed you could bring back an artifact, but it was not the case. It's only an artifact creature, so you can loop Scarecrows, essentially. Not really a thing necessarily, but, you know, it's a fun card nonetheless. Maybe EDH down the line might see some use of that card. You actually have a pack as well, and I don't know what it's for. Is it M21 or something? It is. Might as well open it while we're here, right? What do we get? No wild cards, and one of the worst rares in the set. Fantastic. Alright, let's go for another game. Alrighty then, let's have a look-see. We have a pretty slow hand. I'm not too pleased with all the 3 drops, so I think I'll take my chances on a free mull here. And this one looks so much better. We can apply this to a creature on their turn 2, I guess, or whenever we want. We've got a White of Precinct 6 and an Initiate's Companion. And we've even got our Chase Rare from the actual the actual cat set, which is cool. Alright, our opponent is playing Tree Hugging. Alright, we're going to go with the Initiate's Companion first. If our opponent doesn't play anything, that's a very good beatdown kind of threat. And that's spell casting, I want to say. When it comes to the reds, I'm not too up on the naming. They're very strange, some of them. Must be blocked if able. When it dies, gain 1 life for each creature that died. Fair enough. We're going to go with the Feline Sovereign here so that it allows us to push straight through the Wall of Blossoms. Shame it's not an enchantment wall. I feel like Wall of Blossom is a very enchanted name, don't you think? And then we'll give it Pseudo-Vigilance, because playing Death's Approach doesn't really apply here. Alright, so I do expect to see some removal at some point. Kinda sucks not having our 4th land, for sure. Just going to block the Feline Sovereign so we can push through with the Companion. They got Wild Size, sure. Oh, and the BMing me? Okay. Oh no, something happened. I don't know. I think they did the math wrong. Dear. Alright, well, we'll play White Precinct 6. What happened there? Is it just +2/+2 and they wild-sized into a 2/3? I guess they meant to block the Companion. I'm confused. I don't know about you, chat. I'm very confused. Alright, there's an X1. Might be the start of a Death's Approach target. Just need a little bit of removal so we can enable this piece of removal. Nature's Way. Have it fight the white. Okay. So unfortunately this is its controller's graveyard, so this would only actually give a -1/-1 to our own creatures. And we drew a tap land, which is the ultimate tilt. As far as swinging here is concerned, I don't think there is a swing to be had here. Trading off with Lightning Visionary doesn't seem too great. Although, potentially, if they do have some burn for the Companion, we might have wanted to at least get that trade off, but I imagine they don't make that block if they have the removal for the Companion there. Llanowar Visionary, draw a card. And Thermo Alchemist. Okay, want to see a untapped land here. We did not see it. So, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, put a counter on the Mauler and untap it. I think that's a good enough excuse to get in with the Initiate's Companion now and offer up a trade. Puts a creature in their yard, so I can potentially Death's Approach the Visionary if they didn't block there. Otherwise, I've got myself a 4/4 that's actually going to be a 5/5, and we want to name black here. We can enlarge it next turn as well, which is pretty nice. Can go right through any of their tree folk. Kitty! What's the flavor on this? For Mittens, it was just another day at the beach. Nice. Verdant Embrace. A 3/7 that is now making Saprolings. That is very bad for us. That is exceptionally bad for us. So what are we doing here? I mean, essentially we give +7/+7 to the Sabertooth Mauler. Make it must be blocked if able, which they were going to do it anyway because it's lethal if they don't. I think I'll just put the Death's Approach on top of this Saproling here as well. So they're going to lose either the Snare Spinner or the Thermo Alchemist. Most likely to be the Snare Spinner, let's be honest. And this will deal combat damage, actually, and get rid of the Verdant Embrace as well, which is kind of cool. So this is like and a reasonably exceptional amount of value, I would say. I'm actually going to trade off the Thermo Alchemist, which does definitely surprise me. So creature died, so we're going to make a counter on the Mauler. We're going to get rid of the Verdant Embrace. And we got ourselves a 6/6, which should push through most of the tree folk that they've got available here. I don't think they realized that this was going to drop off. I'm guessing they would have much rather have blocked with the Wall of Blossoms, given that kind of information. Now, this is a weird one. So we can get a 2-for-1 on the Gnarled Sage and the Llanowar Visionary by attacking. I guess that's okay. Would that make much sense to me, though? It would make my White of Precinct 6 is pretty powerful. But it could set our opponent up to have some pretty good follow-up turns. I actually think we maybe just go with the Canopy Stalker and we'll swing with that at a later date. I don't know, maybe this is playing it too safe. Double Vision, okay. And Chandra's Piling. We draw a land, okay. So I think this is where we go boop and boop. Unblocked damage will kill the Double Vision. I don't expect that to necessarily happen, but this is basically a forced couple of trades here as well. They've tapped down their Llanowar Visionaries, so it's less power on board to attack back. And I guess we get the pick of the litter here. So I do probably want to just take care of the Gnarled Sage over the two 1/3s. Yeah, I think getting rid of the bigger one is more important. We are left with the Canopy Stalker. We're going to keep a land in hand just to pretend that we've got something interesting here. Kinetic Augur. Discard and draw that many. And it's a land. Fantastic. There's the card we're looking for. This should be very hard for our opponent to deal with. So we're going to swing and force some blocks again. Not exactly the best blocks for us, unfortunately, but anything to pump up the White of Precinct 6, and we'll get some life for doing this as well. So, yeah, we're just going to get rid of the Augur. Gain 2, have a 6/6, which needs to be blocked every single turn. Should be bigger than anything they can put down. Never mind, that's the Soul of the Harvest. That's up there on best possible draws, I would say. Well, force them to block it. Just a single block. Very interesting. Alright, we're going to keep the Burglar Rat for now, in case we draw a Tiny Bones, or if they hold a card in hand, we can get rid of it. A 1/1 on board's not going to make a big difference here. So, 6 trample coming through. That could make a big difference. Alright, so they held a card in hand. Let's find out what it is. Is this on your turn? It's each turn. Okay, so if they did have a spell in their hand, they could copy it for whatever it is. It's a Crushing Canopy with no targets. Cool. I think we get in with the Feline Sovereign. We trade off Llanowar Visionary for it. It's not exactly doing a great deal for us now. And if it gets left unblocked as well, then we kill the Double Vision. So, yeah, we get this kind of block, which I think is preferable, to be honest. And we'll pass the turn. Withholding information with our forest. We might be forced now to start holding back the white, though. If they keep having blockers. I mean, this is going to draw them out into a metric ton of stuff. Unfortunately, if they ever manage to finally get themselves a permanent. Alright, Keeper of Fables is very good for us. This means I can do a wide swing, and any one of these creatures connecting will draw me a card. And I think we take the all attack here. So they have a chump with the spinner, and they have a profit block with the soul. But then the burglar rat gets in, draws us a card, takes them to 2. And we still have a bigger creature than they do. And it becomes a 9/9 as well, which is becoming ever increasingly harder for them to deal with. It would blow my mind if you block that burglar rat. It truly would. Alright. Maybe they got burn here. Who knows? I would say a double Scorching Dragonfire would definitely be very painful. Yeah. Exactly what happened there would definitely be very painful. Put our opponent to 2. Have a 9/9. They can't attack, otherwise they probably die. And no creatures for them. Well, all attack. Get rid of that Soul of the Harvest. We are absolutely, unbelievably lucky that that never managed to actually draw them any cards. I think the moment it did, we were going to lose the game. That must be painfully bad for them. And yeah, now they basically need to draw into an answer. They got a good chance of doing it with the Thrill of Possibility being doubled up here. And explore for a redraw. They need to play a creature otherwise, or 2 creatures, otherwise they're dead. Pretty sure they can't 11 me. They've used their double vision for the turn now, so I don't know. A 6 damage burn spell for 3 mana isn't on the table. I believe they do have Volcanic Salvo, but I'm not sure if that actually hits players. I think it's only creatures and planeswalkers. As I said, they've doubled up now, so I think it's 5 only. So it'd be good soon, but it wouldn't be good now. Alright, give me... I don't know, actually. Feral Invocation? You know what, that could be good enough. We'll see what happens here. Swing in and we can pump the Burglar Rat, or maybe even save the white if there's... Was that actually 8 damage? Oof. It was close. I didn't actually know Flame Lash was in there. We go to 3 and we finish off the game for a 3-0. Wow. Yeah, we got exceptionally lucky there. I'm not gonna say that, you know, we just straight up outplayed our opponent. I think the fact that this never drew them any cards was a major boon to the victory of that game. Some maybe less than ideal attacks for us. I'm not entirely sure whether or not the profit that we got off of it, air quotes, was worth it. But I don't know. I think we had to put on the pressure, otherwise our opponent would just, like, eventually draw into double Flame Lash. Untap, deal 9,000 to you. And, you know, forcing our opponent to block with a lot of creatures, specifically things like Thermo Alchemist as well. If they'd have never blocked with that, that would have killed us. I mean, that would have made up the 3 points already. I imagine along the lines, just by, you know, nicely blocking Burglar Rats and things like that, and our Feline Sovereign. But yeah, really solid stuff. Very happy with this deck. Turns out cats and discarding is a fantastic combination, even when you don't really draw the good parts of the deck. We didn't really get to see Tiny Bones all that much. I think we drew 1 card off of him in the 3 games we played. Let's open up another Core 21 pack, I suppose. Got an uncommon wild card, and Rada, Heart of Keld. I think that's my 4th one now. I want to try out a mid-range list with her, actually, now that Teferi has been banned. By the way, that'll age this video. Now that Teferi's banned, I do think that, you know, we could actually see Rada coming down and staying down for a turn. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, then make sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well for more Jumpstart in the future. We'll be back in a couple of days for another run, but other than that, we're going to be playing some Standard to really showcase the brand new format coming to Magic Arena. If I haven't already, I might have pushed some videos away and made some early game Standard content. I don't know. I'm very excited to play Standard again now that it looks good, and hopefully you guys are too. But yeah, Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.